Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about just some basic dietary recommendations, the basics, simple things for people to be able to follow and practice in their own lifestyle. So I'm going to start with balancing your macros. So balancing your intake of protein, carbs, and fats. So essentially, you don't want to look at it as protein, carbs, and fats. You want to look at it as fuel source and building blocks. So protein is a building block. It is how your body decomposes itself and puts itself back together. Without protein, your body would stop functioning. It would completely cease to function. Without adequate protein, it's not going to function on an optimal level, and you require protein for thousands and thousands of functions within your body that are essential for life. So to start with, you're going to want to get about 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. And that's that's goal body weight. So say if you're 190 pounds and you want to be 205, you want to do 1 gram of protein for the 205 pounds of body weight that you're looking to achieve, and then obviously changing pounds to kilograms, so doing the conversion there. So always optimize protein. Get at least 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And then secondly, you have fats and carbs. So fats and carbs are not building blocks. Fats and carbs are energy source. This is our fuel source that drives us through the day. Some people run better on fats. Some people run better on carbs. Some people are adapted to both. I myself, I like to work out fasted, so I'm adapted to ketones, but I also have a high intake of carbs as well. So I bounce between utilizing both fuel sources. The current RDA recommendation states that you should have about 65% of your calorie intake as carbs, and that is complete, utter nonsense. So essentially, if you're having 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight, that's roughly 40% of your calories in protein. So there's going to be nuance. You could have a little bit less, a little bit more, but we'll say 40% of your diet in calories is going to protein. So then that leaves 60% for carbs and for fats. So this entirely depends on your body and your lifestyle. So if you find yourself running better on carbs, which is a lot of people, and I'm talking healthy carbs, not bread, then you could do approximately 40% of carbs and then 20% of fats. But if you find that you're somebody who likes doing the keto diet, you run well on fats, you don't feel good on carbs, you've got brain fog, you've got memory issues, you've got concentration issues, fatigue, then you definitely want to switch that around. Maybe do 40% fats and 20% carbs, or you can even meet yourself in the middle, 30-30, if you're not noticing any extreme differences going between having higher fat or higher carb. So essentially, to summarize this, always focus on your protein intake. Animal proteins are far superior to plant proteins, but plant proteins can be okay as well. I definitely don't recommend being vegan. I understand the humanitarian aspect of it, and this is why you would try and get regeneratively raised meat, which is good for the ecosystem, good for the environment, good for the animals. They live a happy, healthy life on regeneratively raised soil, which is healthy soil, healthy grass, healthy ecosystem. And then secondly here, you're going to want to try and discover and experiment with yourself which energy source is better for you, fats or carbs. So you've got your protein checked, and then experiment with carbs and fats from there. And obviously we're going to be looking at healthy carbs and healthy fats, such as organic fruit, organic vegetables. We're going to be looking at like grass-fed butter, grass-fed tallow, collagen sources from animal meats. Avocados are a tremendous carb and fat. And just see what works for you. We don't have to be like nuanced about this. We don't have to be perfectionists. You don't have to have the perfect diet or only eat a certain food because somebody told you to. Just eat whole foods, guys. Just organic whole foods while optimizing protein, and most people will feel good with that. So next we're going to discuss organic versus inorganic produce. So if you're doing a whole foods diet, you're doing some carbs, we're talking veggies, we're talking fruit, we're talking whole grains for a lot of people, you're gonna wanna do organic. It's not always perfect, you can't always get organic. Everyone's got budget restrictions. I've got budget restrictions. I would say I eat 70% organic, 30% inorganic. One tool that you can utilize is the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So you can Google that. That's the Dirty Dozen is the produce with the highest level of pesticide exposure, and then obviously the Clean 15 is the least amount of pesticide exposure. So essentially, if you are not eating organic, you are getting produce that is absolutely destroyed with glyphosate and pesticides and inorganic materials, volatile organic compounds that are just not good for the human body. It overburdens your liver, it overburdens your kidneys. It is terrible for you. It is terrible, terrible, terrible. It increases the ROS, the reactive oxygen species within your body. It disrupts your cellular membrane. I could go on and on. You really want to limit the amount of glyphosate and pesticides that are going into your body. Again, you can't be perfect, but just do your best. Berries, super expensive. So I get frozen berries from Costco and like organic, and it's incredibly cheap. I'll get like organic apples, organic kiwis, organic oranges. These are all affordable, but for example, so with berries, if it's fresh, it's too expensive. It's frozen or inorganic. I don't get organic papaya, pineapple, watermelon. There are certain things that are just too expensive, and guys, we have to be realistic. You gotta do what you gotta do. Secondly here, organic produce has a much higher nutrient density. So when you're producing organic produce like fruits and vegetables, when you're spraying produce with glyphosate and pesticides, you're killing the soil. You're killing the microbes on the soil that help naturally. How do I word this? My apologies. It helps the plant to produce a higher polyphenol or antioxidant content by learning to be resilient with the bugs that are trying to eat the plant. So essentially, when you are spraying pesticides and crap all over the plant in the agriculture, you are destroying all life around that plant. So it's not just the plant, you're destroying the soil. You take away the nutrient density of the soil around the plant, which then in turn affects the plant. So when you're eating organic, you're getting a significantly higher nutrient profile like vitamin C, vitamin B, fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. You're getting higher polyphenol content. So for example, with broccoli, if you're having organic broccoli, you're going to have a much higher sulforaphane content. It's a massive difference, and it doesn't seem important, but these micronutrients can be extremely important for just how you feel on a day-to-day basis and pushing yourself through just like your average day, or if you have chronic diseases, just allowing yourself to feel optimal. And then lastly, as I was stating, it kills the entire soil. The entire agriculture that is sprayed is killed. Is this good for the environment? Is this vegan friendly? Killing bugs, killing all the plants, all the agriculture. It's not good for the environment. You want to promote regenerative farming where you allow the soil to seasonally rest. You don't want to destroy the soil with inorganic compounds. You want to do as nature intended. You want to let that plant grow as intended and eat that plant as it was meant to grow. Next up here, we are talking pasture-raised and or grass-fed meat and dairy versus conventional farming. So, grass-fed, pasture-raised, regeneratively farmed, especially ruminant animals, but you could do chicken, you could do pork, but just overall having that higher quality of life, higher quality of nutrition for the meat that you're going to eat is crucial. It is so essential. It is number one. So, for example, there is an omega-3 fatty acid called conjugated linoleic acid. I think that's an omega-6 fatty acid, my apologies. So conjugated linoleic acid is incredibly beneficial for the human body. It is an antioxidant, and it helps with heart health, with cardiovascular health. It just has a load of benefits. It's an amazing fatty acid that we utilize within our body. And within grass-fed meat, so say if you're taking grass-fed beef, it is 2 to 5 times higher in conjugated linoleic acid than in your conventionally raised meat. So that would be conventionally raised beef. That's a massive difference. Grass-fed beef, pasture-raised, it's going to have higher vitamin A levels, higher vitamin E levels, which is absolutely essential. It's going to have more bioavailable iron. It's going to have higher levels of zinc, phosphorus, magnesium, copper. It's just unbelievable. Grass-fed meat will have beta carotene. It'll have vitamin C. People don't think of meat as having vitamin C because they're used to their conventional meat that they've been educated about being void of nutrients like this, and they get told that they have to have it from vegetables or from fruits. But when in reality, I'm not recommending carnivore diet here, but you can get every single nutrient that you need from just grass-fed beef. Everything. You can get every single thing that you need. It has all the fatty acids that you need. It has the fats for fuel. It has protein. It has collagen. It has antioxidants. You name it. Secondly, here we've got animal welfare. So for pasture-raised animals that are regeneratively raised, they are raised on pastures, grazing, eating grass, eating seeds, doing what nature intended, living the life that they're intended to live. Versus you have conventionally raised cattle, which is cattle who are developing arthritis, who are getting pumped with growth hormone and antibiotics and just pure crap that if we put in our bodies, we would die. We'd be diseased. We'd be chronically ill. These animals, they get raised in feedlots where they have barely any room to move. They're stepping in their own feces, and it's disgusting. They're completely depressed. They're often diagnosed with arthritis and mood issues and weak, brittle bones, and even something as simple as marbling. Marbling is the fatty composition that accumulates within a muscular tissue because that animal is not having healthy muscle and it's not being allowed to roam. So it's just something as simple as that. Not being able to move and not having a proper dietary intake is diseasing these animals. And what do you think is going to happen if you're eating a diseased meat? Not good for you. This is part of the reason why red meat studies can often show negative health effects, because they're using conventional farming. This is why people say dairy is not good for you and it aggravates autoimmune issues. I personally have autoimmune issues, and if I eat grass-fed raw dairy, I feel amazing. It is like a superfood for me. It goes from dairy being the number one food to avoid to dairy being the number one food that I need to eat for my health. And even just for like say any vegans out there or environmental activists, regeneratively raised farming is you're producing a happy animal. You are providing a good life for that animal. That animal is able to roam free and live its best life and live out its life. So when you're giving growth hormone and antibiotics to animals, they're getting slaughtered at like 8 months old. They're getting slaughtered way too young because they are growing exceptionally fast, and it's just not natural. With regeneratively raised meat, they're living a longer, healthier life, which is, who doesn't want that, right? Who doesn't want the animal to be living a better life? Next up here, we've got pasteurized versus unpasteurized dairy. This one will throw a lot of people off. It can be a little bit of an eye-opener. A lot of people are terrified of unpasteurized dairy, or quote, raw milk. Raw milk is how nature has provided milk to mammalian species for thousands of years. Why is suddenly raw milk this terribly disgusting, gross, unclean thing? I'll tell you why. Because conventional farming has cows in feedlots in their own feces. I wonder where the bacteria comes from within the raw milk. pasteurized milk is just, it's terrible. It is so bad for you. It degrades vitamins and minerals within the food, such as vitamin C, all the B vitamins. A lot of people have a folate deficiency, especially pregnant mothers who are told to take folic acid, which is synthetic and garbage. You're drinking pasteurized milk, you're not getting folate. You drink raw milk and you're getting proper methylated folate. You lose out on minerals like zinc and magnesium when you pasteurize milk, fatty acids, as well as beneficial microbes such as the bifidobacterium microbes, the lactobacilli, the streptococcus, Saccharomyces, and enzymes. So lipase, protease, lactase. Why do you think people have an issue digesting milk? Well, if you take out the microbes that digest the milk, and then you take out the enzymes that digest the milk, how are you supposed to digest the milk? Lipase. Lip is fat, ace is an enzyme. So you've got a fat digester, protease, is protein. You have a protein digester, and lactase, so the lactose sugar in milk. That's a sugar. You can't digest that either. So you're putting this thing in your body that nature has provided you with the tools to digest this thing. And now you've taken away nature's tools to digest this thing, but you're still putting it in your body. What is your body going to do with that? It has no idea. Now your body has to work overtime, and it has to compensate for the missing materials that you've taken out of this natural milk. So I 100,000% recommend raw milk. If you live in Canada like myself, you can get raw cheese, you can get Pecorino Romano, you can get Parmesan Reggiano. The organics company from Superstore has raw cheese. So it has their medium and their old cheese is raw cheese. And then you can go to a local farmer and get raw milk. It might be a little bit illegal, but we live in a world where things aren't as intended, unfortunately. So you got to do what you got to do. But I don't recommend pasteurized milk to people. If you have to do it, it is what it is. I wouldn't have dairy frequently if it is pasteurized. But if you're able to get your hands on raw dairy, especially raw cheeses, which are available in Canada, it is a tremendous health benefit. It is tremendously rich in fat-soluble vitamins, especially vitamins K and vitamin E. Vitamin K is absolutely essential. Most people are deficient in vitamin K because most people try to get vitamin K from plant sources, but that's vitamin K1, and we mostly use and utilize vitamin K2, which is tremendously more bioavailable. And then also another note on pasteurized milk here is it destroys immunoglobulins. So it destroys immunoglobulins that are essential for your immune system. You need these for your immune system, and it destroys growth factors, which is crucial for cellular function. Pasteurized milk is crap. We didn't start having milk intolerances until we started to pasteurize milk, and for some reason, most of the population can't put two and two together, unfortunately, because we're undereducated in these topics coming up in school and undereducated from our families, and it's time for us to make a change. Another little caveat that I'll make before ending the video here is that it's the same thing with juices as well. So juice is pasteurized. You can get cold pressed juice. It is more expensive, so again, we have to be realistic. I understand not everybody's rich. I don't have a lot of money myself. Do what you can, find sales, whatever. But pasteurized juice, it is devoid of the microbes that were in the fruit. It is devoid of nutrients. It is devoid of antioxidants that would essentially allow for the reactive oxygen species of the high sugar intake to be mitigated. So you definitely want to go for cold pressed juices and cold pressed oils. And for oils, I would recommend extra virgin olive oil, extra virgin coconut oil, and then animal fats. So that's grass-fed butter, grass-fed tallow, grass-fed ghee, grass-fed lard, or pasture-raised lard. I would not touch seed oils ever in my life. And this gets more nuanced, but I'll state it just for the record. I would not cook at high heat with extra virgin olive oil. If you're able to use coconut oil or animal fats, this is significantly more beneficial, as the extra virgin olive oil will become oxidized when exposed to high heats, and this essentially makes the fat of the extra virgin olive oil unstable. If you have an unstable fat within your body that's trying to enter into your cell membrane, it is not a good thing for your body. Extra virgin olive oil is amazing in polyphenol content, and it's amazingly healthy. But if you look at the places around the world that utilize extra virgin olive oil, such as the Mediterranean diet, it's raw. It's putting it on a salad without heating it. It is using it as a drizzle. So you can't be perfect. If you have to heat your extra virgin olive oil, that's completely okay. But just try to think about these things when you're making dietary choices. Try to optimize your health for not just yourself, but your family. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.